Here's an example of a complex instinct that's very hard to explain in terms of evolution, how it could have come about. In Australia, there's a type of bird called the Mallee fowl. It lives in eastern Australia. It's about the size of a chicken. It has a very complex behavior connected with its egg-laying process. Before the eggs are laid, the male and the female of this species dig a big hole in the ground. This hole is about 15 feet or 5 meters wide. They dig it to a depth of about 3 feet or 1 meter. Then they fill this hole in the ground with leaves and branches and twigs. And they fill up the hole and they pile up the leaves and the branches and the other vegetable material. Then they cover this mound with a thick layer of sand. This is really quite amazing. It's like they're building a house or something. This in itself is a very complex behavior that's very difficult to explain in evolutionary terms. But there's more to it than that. When the female is ready to lay her first egg, she goes to the top of the mound and she digs through the sand and digs through the vegetable material, which by now is starting to rot and produce heat. And she makes a space in the center of the mound and lays an egg. Then she comes out, and the male and the female recover the mound. So then what happens is the male acts in such a way as to maintain a temperature of 93 degrees, 93.2 degrees exactly, for about 9 months. And this is not as easy as it seems, because in this part of Australia, over 9 months, the climate changes radically. It becomes warmer, it becomes colder, and somehow or other, the male of the species is able to keep the temperature inside the mound where the egg is at about 93.2 degrees. And how he does this is very complex. In the initial phase, the vegetation around the egg is decaying and it's producing heat. So therefore, the heat has to be reduced. So he removes some of the sand covering the mound so that the heat can escape. Later in the year, it becomes very, very hot. So therefore, the temperature inside has to be reduced. Otherwise, the egg will die. It won't result in a chick. So the male, again, he arranges to lower the temperature inside. How does he know what the temperature is? Well, scientists speculate that through his beak or tongue, he's able to detect, what the temperature is inside. During this time, it becomes very, very hot, so he has to lower the temperature. Then later in the year, it begins to become cold. So then he has to figure out some way to increase the temperature inside the mound. So what he does is he removes the sand and branches and vegetable material from above the eggs. He takes away the top of the mound so that during the cold time of the year, the sun directly shines on the top of the mound, increasing the temperature, helping to maintain it at 93.2 degrees. And then during the night, when the sun goes down and it gets very cold, he covers it up again so that the heat that was stored during the daytime remains there during the night. Then when the sun comes up again, he takes away the sand and the vegetable material from the top of the mound to allow the sun to shine on these eggs. And so for this period of 9 months, this male bird engages in this very complex behavior to maintain the temperature of the eggs at 93.2 degrees. And the temperature varies by less than 1.8 degrees, higher or lower. And if he's not successful, then the eggs don't produce chicks. And that means the species doesn't survive. So the question for scientists who believe in the theory of evolution is, how did this behavior develop in a step-by-step way? And you can't just start with one part of the behavior, because if the whole behavior isn't there, if all the skills connected with this behavior aren't there, the eggs won't survive and the species won't survive. It's a big mystery.